I got it. So, can a recurve bow actually kill a man?
Quite easily.
How?
A carbon-tipped arrow that was intended originally for a moose or a bear would go through a man like butter. It
And
wouldn't
that's
be
what
hard.
and that's what Michael Kurlick uses to kill the bad guy in your first book, right?
Yes.
Hi everyone. My name is Christos Aslanidis. I'm the author of Dragon Girl and the director and head coach of theartofpersuasion.ca. I'm here with Richard Schwindt, author, retired social work, self-help guru, and we're talking about his latest book. Richard, what's the title of your latest book?
The women who cried through the storm.
Is there a way? Is Can you show us the cover of the book on the screen?
Yeah,
The women who cried through the storm.
should come up in a sec.
Yep. Oh yeah, there it is. Nice cover.
It's designed by Crispian Thoroughborn, who's designed all the covers in the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles, and he has a certain tone that he's provided for all of my books in the series, and it to me works really well.
So this is your third book in Magnolia Bluff, but
Fourth,
you're part of a collective called the Underground Authors.
yes.
And can you tell us the relationship between the Underground Authors and Magnolia Bluff or Bluffs? I guess is it Magnolia Bluff?
Magnolia Bluff.
Yeah.
This is will be my fourth book.
Ah,
The
sorry.
Underground Authors is a collective of writers who got together to promote our books. And somewhere along the way, we decided to invent a community in Texas, Central Texas, Hill Country, called Magnolia Bluff, and set a series of crime novels in that little town. And we all take turns. We put out a book a month. My new book, which is coming out on September 20th, is book 39 in the series.
Wow.
So we have uh, quite a series of murders for a very small place.
Yeah, it's a
And
really dangerous place, this Magnolia Bluffs.
well, we're having a lot of debates about how much we should acknowledge that, uh, because there's been one hell of a lot of murders there and a lot of amateur sleuths. And I don't know about anybody else, but I can barely resist making a bit of a joke of it sometimes.
Okay, if you could pop your screen share off, I'm going to show our audience the covers of two earlier books. This is the second one that I've read of Richard's Magnolia Bluffs for boys who struggle with darkness, and then the first one, The Shine from a Girl in the Lake, and both of these star Michael Kurlick, who's a social work prof at a university in Magnolia Bluff. So tell us just a brief synopsis of what happens in what was the title again?
The women who cried through the storm.
Right. Tell us briefly about the women who cried through the storm.
The four books in the series work together and they evolve. People respond emotionally to the events. There is death, there is loss, there is struggle, there's some humor. And at the end of the third book, there's been an awful lot of mayhem that has been created by two very dark, manipulative students. And it ends with one of them being pretty much eliminated, and the other one sent away seriously injured, but she returns. And the Department of Psychology at Burnett College is sent away on a retreat or be closed. They're sent away in a retreat. There's a storm. They're on the wrong side of the river. There's a flood. They're stuck. There's a death. There's a murder. People are falling to pieces. And a Canadian social worker named Chris Allard is there visiting an old family friend, Michael Kurlak, who's been the star of the previous three books. And together, they have to somehow figure out what's going on. Part of the problem is that Mike Kurlak is falling to pieces. He's had too much on for too long, and um, he's dissociating. So Chris, who's 72 years old, has to wrangle a whole psychology department, three students, people falling apart, and at least one murderer. So things are very, very hairy during this storm, during this flood.
So you don't have to have read any of the other books, though, in order to appreciate the For Women book.
You could do either. All the books in the series are intended to be standalones, even though
Right.
I do have continuity between the four books in my part of the series. However, that said, there's nothing to stop you from picking up the last one, the new one, and reading it. It's going to work. You'll pick up the story very quickly. You'll pick up what's come before very quickly. And it's 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 a fun book. It's got a lot of tension. I've had a lot of fun writing it. It's been a challenge, like all murder mysteries, because you have to make all the plot twists and all the threads and all the characters behave in a coherent way. But I think whoever reads this is going to have a lot of fun.
I want to ask about that fun aspect because this whole writers collective and this whole scene is absolutely fascinating to me. But I think people would be interested in finding out how they could get a hold of any one of Magnolia Bluff's books, but in particular yours.
They're all on Amazon in ebook format, KDP. And the KDP is important because it means if you have a KDP arrangement where you can read unlimited amount, you can read any of the books on KDP. You can order it as buy it as an ebook. You can buy it as a paperback. Some of the other authors have other arrangements, but our baseline, our base place is Amazon. And you can read it on KDP, you can order it as an ebook, or you can buy the paperback.
That's fantastic. So now tell me about the fun of working with this collective, this writers collective. What are some of the things that you guys have to do in order to get a really cohesive, I guess, canon of literature around this crazy town?
It's very funny if you're ever to be an outsider at one of our meetings. There's a joke among murder mystery writers that if anyone ever checked our Google histories, they'd be in for a shock. How long does it take to die from a cyanide overdose? How many shots of a 22? Kind of like your first question, Chris.
Yeah,
What would a recurve do? That's what we
can a
would do.
recurve
We all
really
do
kill a
that.
man? It can.
Now, with the underground authors, we're saying, hold our beer. The There are discussions are, have you killed this guy yet? I thought you were going to kill him. No, no, don't kill him. I'm using him in my next book. What do you mean don't kill him? I was about to kill him. No, we don't kill this guy. It's And don't kill this guy either. We have the funniest conversations. And it's because we have tried something that for the most part has worked extremely well, which is sharing characters and settings. We have maps that we follow of Magnolia Bluff that people have put together. We have a sense of the town and what works and who's there and what the social networks look like. Uh, because we want it to be greater than the sum of its parts. We wanted to kind of gel as a community, beyond our individual contributions. So that's exciting. And even though stylistically we're all very different in how we present our stories, uh, it is something that has worked very, very well and is very close in the huge world of murder mysteries and crime fiction to being unique.
I think it really is. And just to for our viewers here, the major characters in one author's book can become minor characters in another author's book. Is that right? How does that work?
Yeah, well, in um, in the first book, C.W. Hawes, who was a big influence in starting the series, uh, identified a police department, Magnolia Bluff Police Department, and of course the county sheriff's department. The county sheriff is a guy named Buck Blanton, who's this big, strong, ornery, don't screw with this guy. And he's a great character, as is the chief of police, Tommy Jager. There's a running joke about how incompetent the police are, even though they're not that incompetent, how rough and tumble Buck Blanton is. And so we all use the ingredients we have. Some people have amateur sleuths. Some people have put deputies on the police force as their characters. I have used the detective investigator in my first three books, but he's off on an undercover assignment somewhere right now. So I've used Buck Blanton as my main sort of legal foil to Mike Kurlak, the psychologist, and Chris Allard.
All right, that's time. So we're going to carry this on just for a couple minutes more, but then we're going to end it. So um, I'm going to ask you about the complexities of your books. They're not just straight murder mysteries. They really involve deeper issues with respect to the protagonists. The protagonists themselves are going through their own challenges. Can you talk about Kurlik and then possibly Allard's issues?
We're getting Chris Allard, who hasn't been in the series up to this date, at a very mature portion of his life. He's calm, he's happily married, he's solved murders in all kinds of strange places, and he's still a clinical social worker. Mike Kurlak has gone through an extremely hard time. He's relatively newly married. He has a baby daughter, and he is beginning to have dissociative experiences. They originally meet in Toronto, and he shares some of the difficulties that he's had. And it's a rough meeting. And he bonds to Chris in part because Chris may or may not have had an affair with Mike's mother many
Oh
years before.
no.
It-
Okay,
I know.
leave it there. Leave it
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
That's
But
that's a
anyway, it's
good teaser.
it goes on and on. It's these are mature characters. It's probably my fifth or sixth Allard book and my fourth Kurlek book. So they evolve
Yeah,
as we go on.
which is why you write about them with such confidence, and you know what your character is going to do. You know how your character's going to behave. All right. So last thing before we end this, one little tidbit, one little teaser that you want your readers to know or look for, that's going to make them want to buy the book.
You're going to want to look into the story of Felicity Phelps.
Ah, there
She
we
is a
go.
linchpin and she is going to reappear.
That's fantastic. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Once again, Richard, would you give us the title of your book again, please?
The Women Who Cried Through the Storm.
The Women Who Cried Through the Storm, available on Amazon by Richard Schwindt, one in the continuing series of murder mysteries set in the beautiful but dangerous town of Magnolia Bluff. Okay, that's it, folks. Richard, You know what to do.
I think.
Bye, everyone.